Armin, you can't get away from these devil bloods.
Damn aliens are crawling around as they please now.
Grisha!
It's all right, Faye. We've heard worse before.
This girl was one of the most innocent children you've ever seen in anime, and these precious lights should be protected, right? Hey guys, this is Kyle from Varistudiostv, the who's, what's, where's, when's, and tens of anime, and today we'll be looking at Faye Yeager, her life and time spent on this world. If you haven't seen Attack on Titan as yet, I am issuing a major spoiler warning. So without further ado, let's begin. Overview. Let's start out by saying I'm deeply saddened by how things turned out with Faye. So let's just jump into it and get it over with in a matter of speaking. Faye was the younger sister of Grisha Yeager. She was around 8 years old, and as such, she didn't have much experience with the world. She looked at it with much glee and happiness, as any young child would. You can see this when she saw the blimp with her brother. She was in awe, as this was an amazing sight to her. She grew up with her very protective, loving older brother Grisha in Liberio's intermittent zone in Marley. She was described as having short dark hair which didn't reach her shoulders, with messy bangs and dark eyes. She wore a nice little flowing dress, a brightly colored scarf, and a coat with her armband. The life of Faye. One day, while out with her brother, they saw a blimp. The two kids were amazed at such a sight, and they followed the blimp beyond the wall limit and beyond the intermittent zone. Grisha would soon regret this decision, as during their journey, they would be called impurities of their region, and it didn't even end there. While searching further for the blimp, they came across two sleazeback officers who were slacking off on a hill. And this is where things went downhill from there. No pun intended. The men were intending to punish Grisha for leaving the intermittent zone without an exit pass. This is where one of the officers started beating the ever-loving life out of Grisha, while the other officer took his sister away. It's notable to state that the officer doing the beating was none other than Eren Kruger, aka the Owl, who will come to play later in the story. Grisha, thinking that he was lucky to have survived, went home thinking that his sister would be there. Unfortunately for him, she was not, and she could not be found. The next day, Faye's mutilated body was found by the riverbank. One of the most awful sights I've seen. Turns out, humans are worse than pure titans, aren't they? It gets worse when the same officers came to meet with Grisha's parents to tell them that it was the children's fault for leaving the intermittent zone in the first place. Grisha's mother was overcome with sorrow, and Mr. Yeager, with his dumbness, then thanked the officers and said he would teach his son to be better. I can't really fault him in the end though, because I can understand what was going through his mind. He was a slave at the time and had no rights, so even if he accused the guards, nothing would come out of it, or his entire family might be killed. Grisha knew it was the men that killed his younger sister, and when he tried to tell his father, he was yelled at, and they both got into a heated argument. They were all overcome with grief and sorrow at her passing. Faye's influence. Due to Faye's death having such an impact on Grisha, he then joined the Eldian Restorationists. He found out that Faye was taken by one of the officers, who then proceeded to feed her to their dogs, where she was eaten alive in a most brutal and horrible way. During his time in the Restorationists, a lot of horrible things happened to him, which we will cover in its own dedicated video. In the end though, Eren Kruger avenged Faye by punishing the very guard that was responsible for her death, by feeding him to a pure titan. A fitting death, I would say. And that's it for our video today. Join us next week as we look at 10 facts about Faye Yeager that you wouldn't want to miss. Until then, here's a video on Sasha Blouse. I'm sure you love it. We look at her life and her times before her eventual passing. And thank you guys again for supporting the channel. Peace out.